What's going on, guys? Welcome to Victims and Villains. If you guys are new to our content, we create content like what you're watching right now simply to educate and engage individuals like yourselves on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name is Captain Nostalgia. I am a writer, podcaster, and the director of our film festival called Horrific Hope. If you guys would like more information about who we are, more information about the podcast we do, more movie reviews like this, links to our social medias, and most importantly, our mental health resource library. Check the links in the descriptions below. The video is really nostalgic for me because I was not anticipating on doing a review for this film, but I had so much fun with it that I had to talk about it. And I know I talked about it in my Men review that I was going to be doing a video about this podcast, but originally, up till this week, I hadn't planned on doing this at all. So I'm here to talk today about Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. This film is not a reboot. I want to emphasize that. Disney's marketing campaign for this movie wants to emphasize that this is not a reboot. This is a continuation in a very meta way. Chip 'n Dale tells the story of Chip and Dale, the iconic chipmunks from Disney's beloved Rescue Rangers show that ran from 1988, I believe, until 1990 or 1991. This version of the characters sees John Mulaney taking over voicing for the Chip character, while Andy Samberg is doing the Dale character, and this movie picks up 30 years after the events of the series being canceled. In some ways, the beginning of this movie feels like a where are they now kind of thing. If cartoon characters really existed in our world and co-mingled with us, think Who Framed Roger Rabbit in a much more open way, to where it's not just Disney cartoons and Warner Brothers cartoons that occasionally make a cameo. I'm just going to start off by saying that there's a lot of nostalgia that's built into this, and this might actually be one of the best ways I've seen a use of nostalgia that actually plays really well into the story elements of the film. Like, when we kind of see where each of these characters are, the film takes us to where Dale is now, and he's kind of transformed himself into the celebrity that also just kind of does con appearances to kind of make a living for himself, but also at the same time he's still working, but he's just doing theater. And as someone who does a lot of cons as press and has interviewed several celebrities at those events, this is a very accurate depiction of what it's like when you're kind of in the insanity and the enthrallment of just being wall to wall with just people who are passionate about fandom. And I absolutely loved this portion of it. Cons are among some of my favorite things that I love to do with Victims, and I just felt like this movie captures that spirit just spectacularly. But the con avenue also allows for the viewers to kind of get to explore where some of these cartoon characters are and really what this world envelops. There is, if you've seen it by now, they're obviously Ugly Sonic, the original design for Paramount's 2020 Sonic the Hedgehog film, has a subplot in here. Tigra also makes an appearance in here. And that's not to say that this world is exclusively Disney or exclusively, Disney and some other brand, because there are a lot of cartoon characters in here. Just to name a couple, Beavis from Beavis and Butthead makes a cameo, and ironically enough, Stan Marsh from South Park also cameos in this movie. I really loved the cameos that this movie brought out, because I was constantly just felt like I was like looking for stuff. Like, it feels like watching Ready Player One or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and just trying to discover like how many little Easter eggs you can put in here. And on top of that, those cartoon cameos also make for some pretty surprising story elements as well that I really liked. And on top of that, it also, because you're going through all of these eras, different eras of animation, you're also bringing in so many different animation styles, which was wonderful. And the fact that they all kind of coexist in this universe is just astonishing. There's a lot of exploration of different animation styles that coexist within this world that are marvelous. Seth Rogen's character feels like an late 90s, early 2000s kind of flash animation. J.K. Simmons has that Gumby animation style that was made famous in like the 70s and 80s. Then of course you have Chip and Dale that one you have the traditional 2D animation, whereas one has been kind of upgraded with the 3D animation that a lot of animation embodies now. There's a reporter in this that is exclusively 3D, and how they do her animation style is really cool. Then they throw it back to like 20s and 30s animation style with black and white. And they mix all of it in with live action, which is probably one of the best things about this movie, is just all of the different voices that co-inhabit for a cohesive story that's actually being told. The animation style never once takes away or robs any voices within this movie. That said, the pacing of this movie is really great. It never once feels like the movie drags or is moving too fast. It has this very slow, even pace, and it feeds that nostalgic factor wonderful, while also never robbing itself of the story. So it never feels like it's taking itself and focusing too much on the nostalgia, or where it's not focusing enough on the story. The two run parallel together in a really smart and really fun way. Probably one of the things that I like most about this movie is how smart and witty it is that I feel like sometimes one of the common things that you heard a lot of people talk about last year with The Matrix Resurrections is how poorly the nostalgia element of that just kind of felt like a cash grab. And I kind of felt like, well, you can hear our episode on it. I'll link it in the show notes below. But I think with that as well, you have to, nostalgia is a very tricky beast to kind of re-entry, and because you're also having to pay respects to what has come before it and the fan base simultaneously, and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers does a terrific job of that. This movie is also genuinely funny. I feel like comedies are really hard, and we haven't had a lot of good comedies for a long time. And it seems like 2022, we're starting to slowly kind of get a resurgence of really smart comedies. And I feel like Chip and Dale's kind of runs neck and neck with The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent for being one of the year's best comedies. I know a lot of complaints were when the trailer came out about how John Mulaney and Andy Samberg really didn't kind of fit the characters and their voices, but when you see it in context with the larger picture of the film, Mulaney and Samberg are wonderful. Just truly, truly great fits for these characters. He really knows how to take a character and kind of just bring it down to like an everyday kind of Joe, which is where we see Chip when we first meet him. And Samberg always has this larger than life persona about him that he's able to bring to Dale, which is also fitting for this character. That said, let's run this through the Rorschach rating scale. This is one of the very rare occasions where we're reviewing a family film that is not a Marvel or Star Wars property. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5. This movie is a delight from start to finish. It scratches that nostalgia itch. It introduces a brand new generation of it, and also at the same time, it's a fun film. Like there's nothing else to say. This movie is just a pure delight. If you guys have seen Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, comment below and let me know what you guys thought. And I will steal a question also from this movie. What is your favorite episode of the original series? Comment below and let me know. With that, let's talk about mental health moments. If you guys are new to our content, mental health moment is where we take a theme of either mental health or something of encouragement from the movie of which we were reviewing and expand upon it for just a few moments. And for this movie, I'm not actually going to be analyzing anything from this movie, but I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable with you guys. The movie thrives on nostalgia, and this is not the only movie that we've seen released in the last year that thrives on nostalgia. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is a great consideration if you have loved Nicolas Cage for any amount of time. And also, who could forget Spider-Man No Way Home if you grew up in the early 2000s or even in an era where you liked Andrew Garfield. Rescue Rangers joining that elite squad of films that are slowly starting to bring nostalgia back to people in a really smart way that grew up on these properties is encouraging. And what I mean by encouraging is, I mean, these are movies that I can honestly see myself coming back to. To be honest, as of recently, coming back into the creation process after Horrific Hope was really tough for me. I got sick immediately following the film festival, and once I got out of being sick, I just felt really burnt out from all of myself that I'd poured into the film festival. I'm not complaining, it was 100% worth it. I'm just trying to tell you guys a little bit about where I was creatively speaking. From that creativity standpoint and my own mental health, needing a break from thinking, work, just needing to rest, I began kind of coming to these films that I grew up on. Movies that I could just escape and just dive into this. X-Files Fight the Future, Freddy vs. Jason, Showgirls, and Never Been Kissed. Movies just bring me back to a simpler time, and one of the things too that I think nostalgia is really good at when it comes to mental health is it's quite literally just an escape. The euphoria you feel of traveling to another world when you watch a fresh movie or jump into a brand new video game, that's the kind of euphoria I feel when I revisit these worlds. If I have the ability to laugh at a movie that I've seen 100 times or can quote along, and I've been watching a lot of The Simpsons as well, that just places me in a very, very just beautiful mindset. I just want to encourage you, like never ever apologize for the things that you like, that you listen to, that you play, that you watch. Because if these types of entertainment bring you joy and bring you peace, that means that it brings you into a safe and healthy spot for your mental health. No one can take that away. Nostalgia is a powerful tool when it comes to mental health. It is a great source of, honestly, I don't want to call it therapy, but it can be therapeutic. And so that's my encouragement with you guys. As this movie thrives on nostalgia, sometimes your mental health can also thrive on nostalgia. And with that also, I want to go ahead and plug this while we're talking about movies helping your mental health. We recently today did an episode with Chris from Streaming Things and Movies Are Therapy, where he talks about how movies really helped him get through not only tough spots in his life, but also helped him get sober from quite a long journey of drug and substance abuse. And I'll provide a link in the descriptions below, but if you guys stream all your podcasts here, you guys can wait till the end of the video and click it and check it out. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, and have a good night.